Okay, so that was the end of that conversation with him.
Yeah.
Okay, so get in now into when they call you for the jury strike, and start from the very first minute you started selecting jury, and tell us what took place.
Okay, well, she was trying to hurry and go through it. You understand your rights and this and that, and she kept reading, and I said, no, I don't understand the end that you just said. I said, can you repeat that and tell me what that means? And she explained it, and then I started, they had a little can with names in it, and the judge was picking the names out of the thing, and she'd hold them up and read them, and she'd ask me if I wanted that person or not, and I'd tell him yes or no. And when the first person got up there, I said I have the right to ask them questions, and she said she didn't respond to that. She just started asking the questions instead of letting me ask the questions, but she wasn't asking the questions in the same way that I was. Okay,
so after she picked the jury, picked out the name, she called out the name, that person stood up and you said yes or no, but you were not offered the opportunity to ask questions. Did the judge ask Parks how she felt about that person?
No.
Did she ask Parks if she was related to that person?
No.
Did she ask Parks if you was related to that? Did she ask you, excuse me, if you were related to that person?
If I was? No.
Alright, so now you've picked how many jurors? Each one was done that way?
Yeah.
How many?
6.
Okay, no alternates were picked? Should have been 4 alternates picked.
No. There was just 6.
Right, so what they did was they picked all 6 based on the fact that none of them was related to you, but you don't know that because she didn't ask them the questions, right?
Well, she asked them questions, like my questions that I wanted to know. I wanted to know if they had ever been arrested by Parks, or if they were related to Parks, or if they knew her in any way. And the questions that the judge asked was, do you know this officer? And have you ever been arrested by this officer? Or do you know any of the officers of New Ellington? That was it.
That was all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you picked 6, and the jury, the trial starts with the attorney sitting beside Parks.
Yeah.
Who was sitting on the bench with the judge?
Michelle and Hamilton.
Okay, Hamilton's the chief of police.
Yeah.
And he was sitting up on the bench.
Yeah, right
beside the judge.
Right beside the judge.
And where was the lawyer and Miss Parks, the arresting officer, sitting?
My table was here, and their table was right beside me, and they were sitting right beside me.
Friday, let's go back to Friday. Friday, when you came by here and picked up the tape recorder, did you go by there and tell them that you was going to tape the proceedings?
Yes.
What did they tell you?
I told it to the lady that worked behind the glass.
Sanders.
Yeah. And they said that they had nothing to do with that.
Okay. So you was reported. So when you sat down and the jury started, did you turn on your tape recorder?
Yes, I did.
How long was the tape recorder on before they turned it on?
It seemed like
Was it on the whole time they were picking the jury?
Yeah.
Okay. At what point or what took place whenever they decided that you could no longer tape it and that they wanted and they took the tape from you?
When I started asking questions about the jurisdiction.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then she looked at Hamilton and asked if that was their recorder, and he said no. And they said they were going to have to take it, and I said, why? Don't I have the right to have it? And she said that they're already recording, and that if I wanted a copy that I would have to go and pay for it, but that I wasn't allowed to have that.
Okay, so what did the jury do at this time? Was the jury present when this was going on?
No.
She had dismissed the jury?
Yes, they were in there.
So the jury was present when she was taking the recorder?
Yes.
So she asked her jury to leave after she took and turned off your recorder?
I'm not sure.
When did the jury go outside? Did she dismiss the jury that wasn't going to be on record?
When I asked to make my statements.
Okay. And that was still at the time, had the recorder running?
Yes.
Okay, and the jury was present?
Yes.
And then she turned off the recorder and asked the jury to leave?
No, the jury was in there when she asked them to take the recorder.
Okay, so they turned off the recorder, and then what happened with the jury?
They were still in there.
At what point did the jury leave?
They left before everything started because I wanted to make my statement.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at here, Tanya, is what made her say, wait a minute, jury can't hear this, and sent the jury out?
That was about the papers on the jurisdiction and pretty much my evidence.
Right, so did anybody, after the jury was dismissed, when you started talking about jurisdiction, when the jury was dismissed, did anybody, including the judge, Police Chief Hamilton, or the lawyer, look at your papers?
Yes.
What did they do with those papers?
Well, they let me read them, and then when she asked me if I could prove it, then I was trying to find it in the papers to see if I had it in there. That was the attachments. Yeah. Yeah, you had it. And they said that wasn't it. Okay, so I heard that Officer, in a hearsay, I heard that Officer Hamilton took your papers off the desk and left the courtroom with them? I'm not for sure if he did or he didn't, but I know he did. Was the papers handed to the judge to look at? Yes. How long did she take to look at them? Like a few seconds, and then handed them and said that wasn't evidence. Okay, so they took the paper, said it wasn't evidence, and Hamilton took the tape out of the recorder. Yes. How did who called the jury back in? I'm not sure. It has to be the judge. She has to say bring the jury back in, or tell Hamilton to go get the jury. I think that's what happened. Hamilton went and got the jury, brought him back in? I think so. And then what did she tell the jury to do, or what did the lawyer tell the jury on closing arguments? Right before they were going to make their... Well, see, they went out twice. What did they go out the second time for, you know? To make their... Right, they had to go make a decision, guilty or not. But the first time they had to leave because... They didn't want to hear the information. Right. Right, okay, so what was his summation right before he told the jury and the jury left to make a decision? How did he approach the jury? This Andy Griffith, which is the attorney. He said, you've heard the evidence and you've heard what's taking place here. He said it shows that I'm guilty or something, and for them to make the right decision or something in those lines. All right, and then they left? And then they left. And now, all right, the jury's out. Who's in the courtroom now? Miss Parks. Arresting officer. And the lawyer. Andy Griffith. Me and the judge. Neil. Yeah. And I'm not sure if Hamilton is in there or not. Okay, so you don't know if he came back in and sat down or not. Right. Any other police officers in there? I don't think so. Was Chris in there? Yeah, Chris was there. Okay. All right, so now the jury comes back, you stand up, and they say guilty. Yeah. On each count, or guilty on all counts? Guilty. Did they read each count, or did they say guilty on all counts? Guilty on all accounts. Okay, so then now guilty on all accounts, and the jury was dismissed, right? Yes. Okay, then what happened?